You are listening to the Taps and Teas Show, weekly conversations for people passionate about marketing, golf, and craft beer. Marty is the co-founder of Bad Rhino, an award-winning digital marketing agency helping golf and craft beer brands get real results in social media marketing. Here is your host, Marty McDonald.
This is Marty McDonald. Welcome to Taps and Teas. Just a quick introduction. As it says in the beautiful intro there, my name is Marty McDonald and I am CEO of Bad Rhino. And Taps and Teas is going to be about marketing, beer, and golf. In what order? I don't know. We're going to have some fun with this. We're going to do this in a lighthearted way, but what we're really going to do is talk about craft beer, marketing, and golf. And they're things that I'm very passionate about, having a marketing agency. But at the same time, hobbies include golf. I have a side project in golf that we're going to talk about. Also, wrote a book about craft beer, and my agency has a lot of experience in craft beer. And it's been a heck of a lot of fun doing it for the past few years. So we're going to talk about those things. The purpose of this podcast is to have a no BS approach to marketing, especially for people that are starting off, especially for small or even established brands out there. There's a lot of confusion when it comes to social media marketing and internet marketing. And the purpose of this podcast is to clear some of it up. We're going to talk to some people. We're going to do some interviews. But these first 12 or so episodes are going to be talking about Bad Rhino, craft beer, and golf, and tying it all together. So real quick, Bad Rhino is my agency. We are located just outside of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and been in business for 7 years. And it's been a lot of fun working with not only small business clients out there, but as I said before, craft beer brands, as well as golf. Golf has been a passion of mine for years, and being able to tie all these together and have an agency that is focusing in on social media marketing with those industries has just been like a dream come true. You know, you get to have fun while you're doing it and get to meet a lot of cool people. So let's talk a little bit about what Bad Rhino does, since most of you listening to this podcast don't know me from anybody or know Bad Rhino, or maybe you do. And that's our job, is to get the word out there and get the brand out there. So Bad Rhino, an agency started 7 years ago with my partner, Rich. He's been a great business partner to this day. He kind of keeps everything rolling. And I've been leading the vision for this whole thing. And we talk a lot about, with our clients, doesn't matter what industry they're in, you know, how do they acquire customers? Social media is a hot button. People want it. It's sexy. However, the approach to it can't just be set it and forget it. You need to create really strong, really ideally foundational marketing pieces that you're going to push out there, because it's no different than if you're doing print marketing or TV ads or anything. You have to have a good approach. And that's where Bad Rhino comes in. And we always preach that way. We always make sure that we're doing the best for our clients, not just sitting there going, okay, set it and forget it, and then we'll check back in a few months. It's a constantly growing thing, and we don't have a cookie cutter approach. And not having a cookie cutter approach has really led us to success. Being in business for, once you cross a few years, you know, you get out of that, okay, what exactly are we doing? We've been in business for 7 years and we watched a lot of people come and go. But the biggest thing is just being honest in the marketing and leading those companies and brands to do the right thing, to make sure that they're watching the right metrics and pulling all those things together. So that has been our claim to fame. In terms of craft beer, we've worked with a couple big brands. You can go to our website. You can see who they are, badrhinoinc.com. We've been invited to speak at certain industry events, both large and small, which has led to some really cool relationships in craft beer and turned into a book for me called Great Beer Is Not Enough. And if you look at that book and you read that book, we talk about, which is the title of this episode, Great Beer, Now What? Is you can have a great plan, but once you get out there and once you become more established, you have to push out those things. You need to be able to leverage your marketing and a paid marketing to get the most for your brand. So if you start off local, you want to go national, you need to be able to do that. So in working in craft beer, you know, we've met a lot of fun people. It's a fun industry. The people so far to date have been great to work with. And tying the marketing pieces together has been a blast. Plus, you get to drink a lot of product. So you get to test all these creations and see all that, which has been a heck of a lot of fun. In terms of that, and what I want to talk to you about in this intro podcast, now that we got some of the basics thrown away here, is really how all this ties together and why this podcast is called Taps and Teas. We want to have a podcast that is getting information out there in a short burst, and a podcast is a great way to deliver that, 20-minute type snippets of certain things that we've come across that can add value to your marketing plan. And the reason it's called Taps and Teas is taps for the beer side and teas for the golf side is it's easy for me to talk about those things. I'm passionate about great beer. I'm also passionate about playing golf and have some side projects, I should say, and some of them are products in the golf world that I've been working on for a few years that are coming to light in 2018.
Hey, if you're enjoying what you're hearing on the show and want more, head on over to tapsandteas.info and get our free report with game-changing tips and strategies straight to your inbox. Just enter your info and stop being stuck with no marketing plan.
So being able to put this information out there as I'm interviewing people on both sides, on the beer side and on the golf side, I feel from a Bad Rhino perspective, it's going to share our philosophies. It's going to share what's made us successful. And if I can do anything to help either one of those two industries, I'm going to be a happy person. It's fun to work in those brands or in those industries and with those brands. They have a lot of people that just share the same interests I do. So once the marketing comes about, they're long sessions. It's just fun. I get fired up over it and it's a blast doing it. So that's what we're doing to tie all this together. And in this first podcast, talking about what these things are, it says it's great beer, now what, is really about that. You can have a great golf course. You can have a great golf product. But if you're not marketing it the right way, things tend to fall apart. You can start off organically, a small budget, and you're trying to get things off the ground, and then things kind of fall apart. Like you hit critical mass and you need to start, planning these things out. And that's where an agency comes in, or you have an in-house person that's focusing in on your marketing. And sometimes it can be overwhelming for somebody in-house to just do everything. At first, you're doing it organically and things are working out well. People are coming into your tap room or they're buying your products and sharing it. But then you get to that first hurdle, which is your inner circle is your customers. Now you have your first group of people, family, friends, whatever. And then you need to reach out to that cold public. And hopefully word of mouth is working for you. But social media is what I like to say. Social media is word of mouth on steroids. If you're doing it the right way and you're advertising the right way with great content, whether those are graphics or video or written content, you can really crush it. You can really do a great job of getting the word out there and watching your brand grow. In craft beer, we'll use that one as an example. You start off and maybe you have one or two really good brewers and people are talking about them. Well, you want to amplify that on social media. You want to be able to tell that story, but you want to tell it in the right way. But you don't want to come across marketing all the time. Like, hey, come in and buy our beer and buy our stuff. You feel like, we're just starting out. We want to have a really good, presence and we want to do good in the community. And you feel a little bit salesy because it's your sweat, your dream to put this beer out there and you've worked so hard to kind of get started. You tend to feel like, I don't want to be overly salesy at first. And that's normal. We come across small businesses outside of beer and golf that feel the same way. It's like, I want to use social to connect with people. But if you do it in the right way, you can absolutely achieve those goals and do it in a non-salesy way. Look, at the end of the day, at some point you want to sell something. So you're going to have that view. But if you start to monitor and track all those things, it becomes a blast and you start to see results faster. And sometimes you're ready for it right out of the gate if you're starting out. And sometimes, 2 to 3 years in, you need to have a fresh set of eyes on your marketing, fresh set of eyes on your story and your brand. And that's why I call this one, it's great beer. Now what? You're starting out and you have these things and now you need to push up your marketing and get better at it. And that's where a company like Bad Rhino would come in Tying all this together has been fun, planning out these episodes. I can't wait to share a ton more throughout this whole thing. Looking at it, we have a lot of things that have been fun for us to learn over the past 7 years through trial and error, working with small businesses and working with, specifically in craft beer and golf. But then tons of other things that we've learned, missteps, both in-house as well as what our clients have done. And I can't wait to share that information. There's so many things that we can help accelerate through for a smaller business or a newer brand that they can, really hold on to and not make the same mistakes. And more importantly, save themselves some money in the long run. We really have that focus of no BS approach that really helps. And if social media isn't the right thing, we're not afraid to say that. We have partners that do other pieces, whether it's email marketing or Google AdWords or website design, direct mail. There's a host of other ways to get your information out there, and we're here to help. So I look forward to having the rest of these episodes out there. The next one that's coming up, we have So What's Your Story? And I'm going to dive into how you develop your story online so that it comes across the right way for your brand. There's little foundational tips that you can do to really get it off. And that part is the key to everything. So we're going to start there. We're going to talk about product. We're going to talk about local ties. We're going to talk about the mistakes that people made. A lot of fun stuff in the next 10 episodes. So I want to keep this one short and sweet. Just give you a little bit of intro of what's to come, and we'll get into it as we go along. So it's Taps and Teas. There'll be a lot of information that'll come out here, and I'm really excited to start sharing it with you.
This is thepodcastfactory.com.